God's destructive judgments of earth by flood and by fire were juxtaposed by the Apostle Peter and alluded to by Jesus Christ. 2 Peter 3:3-14. There shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth which are now, by the same word are kept in store, reserved to fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening to the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat? Nevertheless we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwells righteousness. Why, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. 2 Peter 2:5-9. God spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the world of the ungodly. The Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust to the day of judgment to be punished. Before Noah's flood, everyone spoke the same language and lived for hundreds of years, so technology developed quickly. According to Genesis 4, Cain's descendant Tubal-Cain was the instructor of metalsmiths, especially in brass and iron. So metallurgy was in full gear before Noah was born. Noah was 500 years old when he gave birth to Shem. 20 years prior, God commanded him to build an ark. Noah likely hired workers to help construct the ark and had all the metal tools and pulleys and cranes he needed. He was also able to make metal cages for some of the animals. Noah was 600 years old when the flood began. Genesis 6:1-12. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repents me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked on the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way on the earth. Though few humans live to be 120 years old today, many commentators believe God gave Noah 120 years to build the ark, thus giving mankind 120 years before God would destroy, Shakath, their corruption, Shakath. Shakath means to destroy, corrupt, decay, to be marred, be spoiled, be ruined, be rotted, or perverted, or corrupted morally. Comus means violence and doing wrong for unjust gain, injustice, cruelty, and damage, and a false witness or oppressor. Men likely bred the animals to be violent also, or altered their original state so that there were clean and unclean animals. But God found a perfect man of truth and integrity named Noah, which means rest, as we are to enter into his rest. Revelation 11:18. And the nations were angry, and your wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that you should give reward to your servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear your name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. The root of orgizo is orge, which means desire, violent passion, including punishment, and anger, vengeance, and wrath. Destroy is diaphthero, meaning to rot thoroughly, ruin, corrupt, or perish. If God were to follow the same pattern as in Noah's day, I would expect a herald of God's fiery judgment to appear 120 years prior to its fulfillment. In 1892, Mr. Holmes observed the Andromeda Galaxy when a comet had an outburst. It brightened from 17 to an approximate magnitude of 5. It recently became visible to the naked eye again like the third brightest star in Perseus. It abruptly brightened by a factor of 1,000,000, from 17th to the 3rd magnitude. In November 2007, the coma had dispersed to an area larger than the Sun, briefly giving it the largest extended atmosphere in our solar system. In Perseus, a star in the waist is called Merphak, which means who helps. One in the right shoulder is named Algenib, which means who carries away, like a bridegroom. The bright star in the left foot is called Athik, who breaks. In his left hand, Perseus carries a head called Rosh Satan, in Hebrew, the head of the adversary, or Al-Ona in Arabic, meaning the subdued. Jesus returns to subdue Satan and carries away his bride. According to Peter Tompkins in Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids, Mayan codices were first displayed to the world in 1892. At the time of the printing of his book in 1976, the translated end date of the Mayan calendar was December 24, 2011, derived by Michael Coe and promoted by Frank Waters. The currently accepted end date of December 21, 2012 first appeared in Argyll's book The Mayan Factor in 1987. The Mayan astronomical calculations are extremely accurate. They especially tracked the cycles of Venus. Its 243-year cycle is charted in the Dresden Codex. The Egyptians and Mayans were particularly interested in the cycles of Venus. Transits of Venus across the disk of the Sun are among the rarest of planetary alignments. Mercury transits happen about 12 times in a century, but Venus transits occur 12 times in a millennium, and they occur in pairs 8 years apart. Only 6 such events have occurred since the invention of the telescope in the 1600s. The next pair of transits were June 8, 2004 and June 6, 2012. It takes a little more than 6 hours for Venus to make its transit across the Sun. Both transits are viewable from the Middle East. Western North America will be able to see the 2012 transit. The retrograde paths of Venus over Orion are more common, occurring every 8 years. They last about 6 months, and one occurs in 2012. The constellation of Orion represents Jesus as the judge. The 3 pyramids at Giza appear to align with Orion's belt and may point to this occurrence. Betelgeuse in the shoulder of Orion was over 1,000 times larger than the Sun and would fit within the orbit of Saturn in our solar system. But the star has shrunk by 15% during the last 15 years and may already have gone supernova. But since it's 600 light-years away, we might not see it for a while. Similar circumstances surround Antares in Scorpio. Will God use the gamma-ray burst of a supernova to torch the Earth? The first 5 trumpets in Revelation involve falling objects from heaven, and the light of sun, moon, and stars being diminished. We regularly observe the Leonid and Geminid meteor showers, comet debris appearing to come from the constellations of Leo and Gemini, respectively. The Geminids were first observed shortly before the American Civil War and are getting stronger. Are they a portent of the next American breakup?